What is up, boys and gals? How the fuck are you all doing? This is episode 6 of YouTube is Cringe, where we take a look at some of the cringiest YouTubers to have ever existed or currently exist on the platform. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at James Charles, as well as his most controversial video that he's ever posted on the platform, where he fully admits to texting underage boys, as well as gaslighting the absolute fuck out of his entire audience. Did I mention James Charles as a beauty influencer? Yeah. He doesn't just groom and text underage boys, but he also plays with makeup on the side, so I guess in a sense you can kind of compare him to Hitler, because, you know, he wasn't just a dictator that did terrible things to people, but he was also an artist, just like James Charles. You know, boys and gals, let's just jump right in, because I don't really feel like giving this fucking creep any more of my attention than I actually have to. And I already know I'm going to have a lot to say, so let's just have some fun and try to enjoy ourselves while watching Holding Myself Accountable.
Hello everyone, James Charles here, and today I'm going to be making a very important video about a very important topic. As many of you guys know, about 2 years ago now, I was involved with a very public online scandal in which some fellow YouTubers made some very serious accusations against me, and within the past couple of weeks, similar accusations are being made again, and I think it's very important that I get on camera and talk to you guys honestly about what is going on.
Alright, first of all, James, come on, man. You're making this very important video on a very important topic, and you're not even going to name the fellow YouTubers that called you out for your weird shit? These are important details, my friend, so don't be a fucking pussy. Be a gangster and stand on your shit, fool. My viewers deserve, nay, they demand to know exactly who you're talking about. So, because I'm a man for the people, and I literally do not give a flying fuck, these are the two people that accuse James of participating in some rather not so family-friendly themes. You got this chick, Tati, whatever the fuck her name is, that looks like a tall skeleton in a wig, or a reference photo for what Bruce Jenner asked for when he decided to transition and become Caitlyn Jenner. Then you got whatever the hell this is, that looks like fucking Nosferatu, if instead of drinking blood, he lived off bags of Skittles and Starbursts, as well as dressed like a divorced middle-aged cougar from New Jersey that wears Juicy Couture tracksuits to their kids' soccer games in the hopes that divorced dads may give them a little attention.
Boom. Roasted.
When this first happened 2 years ago, I uploaded a video to my channel called No More Lies, and that video was a very planned video. It focused on receipts and screenshots and defending myself in the situation, but I want you guys to know that this video that I'm going to be making today is going to be nothing like No More Lies.
Jesus Christ. This dude has to be the most narcissistic loser I've ever seen, because he really just mentioned his No More Lies video 50 fucking times in one sentence, as if he truly believes that video is universally known amongst every single person on the goddamn planet, like fucking Star Wars or the Titanic. I'm fully aware of the hypocrisy for me to call someone else a narcissist, but come on, in my 5 years on YouTube making videos, when have you ever heard me mention one of my videos 50 fucking times in one sentence? Never. And I bet you $100 this will not be the last time we hear No More Lies being referenced in the Holding Myself Accountable video, because for some odd reason James Charles thinks he's fucking Steven Spielberg. I'll even bet an additional $100 that the first thing James Charles does when he wakes up in the morning is stares at himself in the mirror and has a full-blown makeout session, because he's so in love with himself, and, well, if you ask the average human being, he looks like a child.
This is not exactly planned. I don't have a script. I will let you guys know that I do have just some notes in front of me of points that I want to make, because this is a very, very serious topic. But today's video is going to be from the heart, and I'm going to focus on what happened, the conclusions that I've come to, and most importantly, holding myself accountable for my own actions.
In other words, this fucking snowflake spent all night planning on the perfect way to make himself look like a victim, while also writing down some bullet points on the best way to manipulate his audience into thinking, "I just made a teeny tiny mistake, I promise. never do it again. Forgive me. I said I was sorry. Gosh. Also, what the fuck do you mean this video's from the heart? Just because you're filming this video in front of a white background, talking quietly, and you didn't start the video saying, "Hi, sisters," do you really think in your mind that people are gonna take you seriously or be sympathetic when you're being accused of texting underage boys? Hi, sister. More like, it would be in your best interest to just shut the fuck up, don't post anything for a while, and pray to whatever God you believe in that these allegations will eventually fade away in a dark abyss that is YouTube controversies, or you'll be looking at 10 to 15 years in prison if convicted for the sexual endangerment of a child. Sister.
First and foremost, I need to say sorry. I owe a massive apology to anybody that I've hurt or anybody that I've made uncomfortable with my actions. And I also want to say I'm sorry to my friends, family, and fans that have to watch another one of these videos, because you shouldn't have to, and this is really, really embarrassing.
Now, I don't know about the rest of you boys and gals, but I've watched quite a few YouTube apologies in my day, so I can confidently tell you all that James Charles' YouTube apology so far has to be the stupidest fucking piece of shit I've ever seen in my goddamn life. You can tell he's not being sincere or genuine, and to him, this apology video, it's just another video he has to put out in the hopes that he might be able to manipulate any audience he still has that's stupid enough to believe he's really, really sorry. I'm sorry to my friends, my family, and my fans that have to sit here and watch another video, because you shouldn't have to, and this is very, very embarrassing. Fuck off. That has to be the most backhanded apology in all of human existence, because that sentence alone makes it seem like he's apologizing for having to make a second video, not that he's really, really sorry for messaging underage boys or being sexual towards them, which is what he should be apologizing for. He should feel embarrassed. In fact, he should feel more than embarrassed. He should feel guilty, because under California law, if he were to be prosecuted and found guilty by a judge and jury, he's not only looking at jail time and paying thousands of dollars in court fees, he's also looking at having to register as a sex offender, which I don't know if you know this, boys and gals, but being a registered sex offender isn't this new hip and cool trendy thing the kids are doing nowadays.
When this all started online a few weeks ago, it sparked a large conversation, and many people have shared their thoughts and opinions, and I want to take some time to address literally everything in today's video. But before doing that, I want to make it really, really clear that I fully understand my actions and how they are wrong. There's no excuse for them, and I don't plan on making any in this video either, and I hope that you will choose to watch it all the way through.
I don't plan on making any mistakes in this video. In other words, what James Charles is actually saying is, this video is planned, it's calculated, it doesn't actually come from the heart, and he's nothing more than a fucking liar. You know what? I think I've heard enough. So I can confidently say, you, James Charles, are fucking gross. You should lose your YouTube channel, as well as all the money you've made from people that have supported you. And you should be in jail for the crime you not only committed, but are fully admitting to. He said it himself, that he fully understands his actions and he knows that what he did was wrong. So, by that logic, if he's being genuine and this video is actually from the heart, then he would agree with me and he should turn himself in for the crime that he committed. It's that fucking simple. But you know, if he doesn't agree with me and he's just talking out of his ass, then what he should do is shut the fuck up and take my criticism like a man. Not a fucking pussy that feels the need to silence every YouTube commentator that makes videos on him and make these false infringement claims, claiming that their videos go against fair use laws, all because they hurt his whittle feelings.
I also just want to make a quick note as well that I'm filming this on the night of March 31st. It is currently 12:54 in the morning. I'm alone here in the studio, and I know that, when I upload this tomorrow, it is going to be April Fool's Day, which is awful timing because this video and this topic is not a joke in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want anybody to think that it is, but I also don't want to wait any longer to speak about this. I want you guys to know that this is very, very important to me, and I'm taking this very, very seriously.
No, he's fucking not. If he were taking this video seriously, he would turn himself into the authorities so the victims of his predator behavior could receive the justice they deserve, not fucking show his phone and be like, I know that when I upload this video tomorrow, it will be April Fool's, but I want you guys to know this video is not a joke, and I'm taking it very seriously. Motherfucker, it's one day. Nobody would have given a shit if he uploaded this video on April 2nd. So, once again, the final conclusion of all this is, James Charles is not actually holding himself accountable or feel sorry for what he did. His only intentions is to put out this video as fast as fucking possible so he can feel better about himself. Not for the victims, not to apologize. This video is solely for him. Also, there's no fucking way James Charles is alone in that studio. Because if I were his friend, you bet your sweet juicy booty my fat ass would be sitting behind the camera, snacking on some popcorn and just watching the shit show unravel. I'd be taking notes with a pen and paper and highlighting every retarded fucking statement this douchebag makes, so if you ever decide to stab me in the back and make a No More Lies video on me, I'd have all the goddamn receipts.
The last thing that I want to say before I just get into it is that I think it's important that I provide a trigger warning for this video. There's going to be topics and things talked about that are very, very sensitive to some people, and I don't want anybody to have to listen to those if they don't want to. So I'm just letting you know right now. But with all that said, I think it's time that we talk.
Wait a minute. Should I put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video? Nah. You motherfuckers know what you're getting here on the Juanrad Birdie channel. Unfiltered, dark humor, and a whole lot of sexual tension, baby. Side note, but what the fuck? It's taken almost 3 whole ass minutes for this dead possum on his head looking bitch just to get to the allegations of what happened between him and some minors. On top of that, he talks like a gay Speedy Gonzales, so why the fuck is it taking so long just to get to the point? I mean, I probably would have enjoyed myself a whole lot better watching this video if he had just read the fucking bullet points instead of speaking from the heart, because, you know, we all know that's just a bullshit ass lie.
In case anybody isn't aware of what's going on, within the past couple of weeks, 2 different people, both under the age of 18, have recently come forward saying that they had inappropriate messages with me on social media. One of them being from last year and one of them being from more recent. In both of these cases, I added these people on Snapchat, asked how old they were right away, was told that they were 18, believed them, engaged in a flirty conversation, and then later on found out that they were actually 16. Upon finding out, I was immediately embarrassed and blocked both people.
Now you wait a goddamn second. I thought that nobody was in the studio with him, yet in this next clip, after providing a trigger warning, the camera changes angles and his hair, it looks completely different. I mean, this motherfucker went from flat earther to swoosh. Maybe his hair looks different because of the different camera angle, but unless he's Charles fucking Xavier from the goddamn X-Men and he's got telepathic powers, how the fuck did the camera move? I know I'm overanalyzing something completely retarded that nobody gives a flying fuck about, but my autistic brain can't let this go. He said he was in the studio alone, and yet the camera changes angles and the volume of his hair goes from Kendall Jenner's flat pancake booty to look at me now, I'm Superman. Anyway, this dude fully just admitted to messaging underage boys and then completely brushed it off by stating, I was embarrassed and I blocked them right away. As if that's a counter argument. No, dumbass. You're embarrassed because you got caught for doing something illegal. And I know this might sound like a fucked up analogy, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I don't give a shit. You can't rape someone and then unrape them just because you got caught and are embarrassed. The same goes for sending sexual messages to minors on Snapchat. You can't send sexual messages to someone and then unsend them by blocking them, you disgusting fucking piece of shit.
Later on, when I saw them making videos about it and those videos going viral, my immediate reaction, completely honestly, was to be really, really upset. I wanted to get on camera and film another No More Lies video where I gather all my receipts and all my screenshots and try to tell my side of the story and then just move on from the situation. And now, looking back, that was so stupid because as I did more research on these topics and self-reflected, I realized that the receipts and the screenshots and the specific details of the interaction really don't matter because I fucked up. And I needed to take accountability for my actions and most importantly, apologize to the people that were affected by them.
You know he was mad saying that shit. They made videos about me, and that made me angry. So, I was gonna make a video of my own with receipts to prove these victims are liars. But once I sat down and actually reflected on the whole situation, I realized there was no true way I could actually disprove the allegations. So instead, I'm going to sit here and pretend to take accountability in the hopes that maybe some of you will forgive me. We all know he wasn't taking accountability or was being sincere when filming this video because he hasn't changed. He got exposed by Tati and Jeffree Star. He got exposed by these two individuals that came forward and claimed that he was sending sexual messages to them. And now, more recently, he's getting exposed for fucking some straight guy that beat the living fuck out of his girlfriend, nearly killing her, and this girl was apparently James Charles' friend. James Charles is no better than any other fucking predator, because even after getting caught with his hand in the cookie jar, he's still doing the same shit, which means he's a dangerous individual that will continue doing whatever he wants and doesn't give a flying fuck about how his actions affect other people because he's a disgusting little prick that has an addiction to cookies.
These conversations should have never happened, point blank period. There's no excuse for it, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and I take full responsibility for that. I trusted the information that was given to me rather than the information I could have and should have gotten myself. In both of these situations, doing research into these people's public social media profiles would have revealed their true ages, and therefore these conversations would have never happened in the first place, but I didn't do the research, and that is what is so embarrassing.
Isn't it poetic how James Charles is supposedly apologizing for what he did while also talking down to his audience as if they're fucking stupid? I mean, it's almost brilliant how fragile his little brain works. I don't believe for a goddamn second that this video isn't scripted, because everything he's saying so far is extremely calculated in a way that makes it appear like he's being sincere. But he's also just stating the fucking obvious, which doesn't come off as him being apologetic. It just makes him sound condescending. It should have never happened. There's no excuse, and I take full responsibility. I trusted the information I could have and should have gotten myself, but didn't. No fucking shit, Sherlock. A rose is still a rose, just like a predator is still a predator. And just because you phrase it a certain way doesn't mean you're not one, especially because you fully admit to messaging minors. So stop pretending like they tricked you as if you're the fucking victim.
As an adult, it is my job and my responsibility to verify who I'm talking to, and therefore there is no one to blame for this other than myself. To the guys involved with this situation, I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I added you, I'm sorry that I flirted with you, and I'm really sorry if I ever made you uncomfortable. It is completely unacceptable.
No. That apology is fucking horseshit. Like, how the fuck are you gonna apologize to someone and make it about yourself? Anybody that believes he's being sincere right now is a literal dumbass, because the only reason he's even making this video and apologizing is because he got caught for messaging minors. I'm sorry I added you. I'm sorry I flirted with you. And I'm so sorry if I ever made you feel uncomfortable. Motherfucker, a simple I'm sorry for what I did would have sufficed, because The way he's phrasing it makes it seem like he's being sarcastic, or like a crazy abusive ex that manipulates any situation by making it about themselves. That being said, he is right about one thing. He is an adult, which makes what he did a crime, not a oopsie whoopsie, I made an itty bitty mistake.
I was being reckless, and after looking back and finally realizing that this was my own fault, I started doing a lot of thinking and reflecting to really try and figure out why I was actually allowing myself to be so reckless in the first place.
You were being reckless? No, you fucking snowflake. You were engaging in sexual text messages with minors because you didn't look up their Instagram profiles, and you committed an illegal act with not one, but 2 minors, which makes this whole situation a whole lot worse because you didn't fuck up 1 time, you fucked up 2 times.
In all other areas of my life, my friends, my business, I like to think of myself as pretty put together and on top of things, and I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? Why was this area of me so different? And I finally came to a conclusion. It sucks and it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
Wow, it's just so brave of James Charles to admit that he's desperate. Sure, in all other areas of his life, like his friendships and business, James Charles is a fucking mega ultra beast, constantly exceeding expectations left and right. But when it comes to relationships, I mean shit, he's just a sad, desperate, horny little meat biscuit looking to get his booty cheeks clapped. James Charles, I respect your bravery, and I just want to say thank you for being so honest with us. Yeah, right, bullshit. Maybe if he were to cry a little or take some form of accountability, I might believe him, but no. He just had to feed his ego and talk about all these things that he's fucking excelling at in life before admitting to being desperate. So, based off all the evidence, this dude will fuck anything, even if it is a child. Sorry, my apologies. They were 16, not children. I mean, God forbid people start saying I'm comparing James Charles to actual pedophiles that enjoy playing secret time with children at the playground. No. James Charles is strictly a sexual predator because in his mind, as long as they can consent, it do not matter how old they are or if they're straight. James Charles is open for business and will let anyone take a ride, just like the village bicycle, unless you're a female, because girls are icky. Ew.
I do understand that with these videos coming to light, it's really it's really looking, period, like I'm actively searching for younger people to be in a relationship with, and I just want to say firsthand that is absolutely not the case. My hope has always been to be in a relationship with somebody around my age or older that I can relate to and that can make me laugh. And unfortunately, I've not been able to find that person yet, but the idea of actually being in a relationship became so important to me that I was willing to trust too quickly, miss out on red flags, and most importantly, not take the precautionary measures that really anybody, but especially somebody with a public platform, should be taking before talking to anybody. And there's no excuse for that.
I would like to rebuttal the argument being made here, because based off all of the evidence, it doesn't look like he's actively searching for guys that are the same age or older. It looks like he really likes them boys young, because this shit has not happened once, but twice. If it happened one time, there could be some leeway where you could be like, hey man, you got duped, and it's a fucked up situation, but it was a mistake, and you just gotta be more careful next time. But no, this motherfucker got bamboozled twice. But once again, he is right about one thing. There's no excuse for what he did, which was commit an illegal act. Also, I fucking love that every time this dumbass takes any form of accountability, he'll throw a curveball at you and be like, take the proper precautions that somebody, especially someone with a public platform, should be taking. It's like you know this dude has tried sucking his own dick more than once because he's so obsessed with mentioning all of his positive achievements, like his large following, or how he has his shit together when it comes to his friends and business.
When I've watched videos in the past of people talking about serious topics, such as this one, it's always really bothered me when people would talk about conclusions or changes that they're going to make without actually talking about how they got there in the first place. So I think it's really important that I do that in this video.
Holy fuck. This guy has to be the stupidest goddamn person on the planet, because he really just said that he's watched apology videos in the past of people apologizing for sexual behavior, not holding themselves to any accountability, and basically saying that those videos suck. So he's going to be the first person in all of human history to sit down and actually reflect on the entire situation. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am so fucking excited to hear James Charles go in great detail about the crime he's committed and hold himself accountable.
In 2019, my dating life became even more public than it already was when I was called out and labeled as a predator. You guys, I feel like at this point all know the story, so I don't want to go back into details, but pretty much I had to get on camera and prove that I was being lied to.
Now you wait a goddamn second, James Charles. You're telling me that you're starting this section of the video out by not talking about your 2019 scandal where you got called out for being a predator, and the reason behind not going into great detail about it is because you feel like it's not relevant enough to talk about? I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't sound like he's talking about how he got into this situation in the first place. I mean, in this video that was posted in 2021, he's basically responding to the same allegations where he's being labeled a predator. Only difference is now he's looking at a serious crime, because them boys he was flirting with on the Snapchat, they were them young boys that still need a parent's signature if they want to go on the school field trip to medieval times.
I had all the receipts to back it up, but at the time I also recognized that I definitely needed to change the way I was going about dating because clearly something was not working. And in that video, I made a vow and a promise to myself and to you guys as the audience that I would be way more careful moving forward. And that promise was not one that I kept.
Uh-oh, James Charles broke his promise. You know what that means. He's not only admitting to being a predator, but now he's admitting to being a stinky poo-poo liar liar pants on fire, which, if you ask any of the young boys James Charles has been messaging, under section 3B of the Playground Rulebook, being labeled a stinky poo-poo liar liar pants on fire is 1,000 times worse than being labeled a pedophile. Fuck you. That's a good joke. Also, I find it fucking hilarious how he's once again choosing to play the victim card by stating he has all these receipts and evidence to defend himself against the allegations of being labeled a predator, and yet he's choosing not to, and it's just like, oh, here we are again. He's literally releasing another video talking about the same goddamn allegations of being a predator like he was during his No More Lies video. Except in this video, instead of lying and making the entire situation about himself, he's only choosing to do it 85% of the time, while still leaving a good 15% for the victims, so whatever diehard fans James Charles still has will believe him when he says, "I'm really, really sorry." Like, go fuck yourself.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys, at the time that I posted No More Lies, I really thought that like the only issue was kind of like the straight guys and being lied to. But I now realize that it was obviously a much deeper problem, and I really wish that at that time I had spent the time to sit down, look at myself in the mirror, and try to get to the root of the problem and understand why I was actually allowing myself to get into these situations instead of just brushing it off and saying like it's the straight guys and it's the lie.
Here we go again, James Charles mentioning his No More Lies video for the 50th fucking time, as if he thinks that video was the biggest fucking thing in the world since the goddamn moon landing. Gotta say though, I am so happy that he's finally had this spiritual awakening where he's realized the deep-rooted problem wasn't the straight guys or the lies, but that he was the problem. And all it took was having to look in the mirror and reflecting on who he is as a person instead of the usual 20-minute makeout session where he beats his meat because he's so in love with himself. Good job, James. You finally started to act like a mature adult. I wouldn't say you've taken any form of accountability because you really haven't changed, nor have you given the victims that you sexually message any form of justice, but you know, it's all about them baby steps. And by baby steps, I mean that as a metaphor. I personally will be taking sole responsibility to not allow James Charles within 50 fucking feet of any walking babies.
But like I said, I didn't, and as time progressed, my desire for a relationship never really went away, and I slowly started ignoring red flags again, and also ignoring my friends and the important people around me that warned me that I was going to get hurt. And to them, I also feel like I really owe an apology because I should have listened, and I feel like if I did, we probably wouldn't be here today.
I'm very interested to know what friends he has, and we're telling him, hey James, I know you're desperate for a relationship, but maybe you should try dating guys your own age, instead of trying to pick up young boys at the Chuck E. Cheese ball pit. If James Charles is admitting he should have listened to his friends, then by that logic, doesn't that mean he has friends that were aware he was messaging minors? And if word ever got out that there were people involved in knowing what he was doing, that would make them an accessory to his crime? It really leaves you thinking, how many people in James's circle are aware that he was messaging minors or what he does behind closed doors? Because what would be the fucking point to stay silent? Because they're afraid of what dirt he has or what he or his fans might do if they ever broke their silence? He's literally admitting to messaging minors. There is nothing that this fucking fairy could do besides cause some slight inconvenience, and there's just no way in hell he's kicking anyone's ass. So why be afraid of him? I'm not, and I have no problem saying that he's a predator because he's fully admitting to predator behavior, and there's just no way in hell that this string bean has ever been in a fight in his life and could kick my ass.
Looking back now and just trying to do my best to piece this all together in my head, I think that my lack of experience when it came to dating growing up, and then all of a sudden having a lot of attention from different types of men, some for good reasons and some for bad reasons, really affected me in ways that I didn't quite understand. I honestly just thought that I had really, really bad luck and that I was being taken advantage of when that wasn't the case at all. And I had the mentality that I could reach out to literally anybody and use my Explore page and For You page as a dating app. And eventually I would just happen to find the right person, but that's just not how dating works, literally at all. It's gross, it's weird, and it's desperation.
I feel like I'm losing more and more brain cells every time I hear this fucking creep play the victim card. James Charles is saying the reason behind him messaging underage boys or straight guys is because of his past relationships, the lack of experience in dating while he was growing up, and people taking advantage of him because he's a celebrity. That is the conclusion he has come to in order to piece everything together. Are you fucking kidding me? How the fuck is he going to do all these terrible things over and over again, make an apology video, and claim the reason behind him doing all these shitty things is because he's a victim of being a celebrity and not having enough experience dating? No shit, you shouldn't use your Explore or For You page as a dating app. That has to be the most fucking retarded bullshit excuse I've ever heard in my goddamn life. And the fact that he thinks this is a valid enough excuse for messaging minors isn't a sign of desperation. It's a sign of being fucking pathetic.
I just really thought it was important to share my thought process and the conversations that I've been having with myself and professionals behind the scenes in order to help myself fully understand the situation so I could properly hold myself accountable for how I got here in the first place.
I thought, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me, that James Charles' entire thought process was fucking stupid because all he did was make excuses and play the victim card, which isn't a sign of growth. It just shows that he has the mentality of a fucking first grader.
When these videos started to come to light, power imbalance became a really large topic of conversation on social media, and rightfully so. In 2019, when I had my whole situation, I was accused of abusing my fame, money, and power to get what I wanted. And when I responded to that at the time, I said that that was disgusting and that I would never want to do that. And to this day, I still stand behind that sentiment 1000%. So when it was getting brought up again, I got really, really frustrated and was trying to understand, because I was thinking to myself, like, okay, I know that this situation shouldn't have happened. I know that this conversation shouldn't have occurred. I take responsibility for that. But at the same time, like, they DM'd you first. They lied to you. They flirted first. Like, you didn't use your fame, money, and power to get anything. But I've now realized that that mentality is completely wrong, because a power imbalance can happen even when it's not intentional.
I feel like a broken record at this point, because once again, he's just making excuses. Except with this statement, his manipulation tactic is to shift all the blame on other people. People were accusing me of using my celebrity status during my first scandal, and now they're accusing me once more by using a power imbalance, even though those minors, they messaged and flirted with me first on Snapchat, so they're not the victims. I am. If this motherfucker knew the situation should have never occurred and he takes full responsibility, then why even mention the fact that they messaged and flirted with him first? You'd think that if it made him really, really angry that people were accusing him of using his popularity, fame, and money when conversing with guys online in the past, even if he was quote-unquote desperate, you'd think that he would take the proper precautions moving forward when talking to anyone online. This once again proves that he's not really sorry. He doesn't take any form of responsibility. He thinks he's the victim and everyone else is at fault. Dude can't even make a sincere apology and own up to his shit without placing the blame on other people.
What I wasn't getting before is that the excitement that comes with talking to a celebrity is literally enough to make somebody do or say something that they normally wouldn't, even if that celebrity isn't intentionally weaponizing their fame, money, or power. And that's the concept that I just wasn't getting, but I now do.
Can you even really call James Charles a celebrity? I mean, when I think of celebrity, I think of someone who has in movies or won awards, not some fucking influencer that films videos in their bedroom playing with makeup and filming shitty lip-syncing videos for TikTok. I'm sure I probably referred to him as a celebrity once or twice in this video already, but I take it back. James Charles is at best a popular social media influencer that paints his face with makeup and fully admits to sending sexual messages to minors. That's it. He's not a celebrity, he's just a creepy influencer.
Even though I'm able to turn off my social media and just talk to somebody outside of the spotlight about something normal, in normal clothes, and no makeup on as James Dickinson, that doesn't change the fact that to them, I'm still James Charles. And that's something that I can't turn off.
Are you kidding me? James Charles Dickinson? There's no goddamn way that's his actual name. You're telling me his parents named him James Charles with the last name Dickinson? What, were they super into Oliver Twist and A Christmas Carol, and so they thought, I know his name was Dickens, but Dickinson is pretty gosh darn close, and so we just want our little precious baby boy to grow up and not only be a gentleman and a scholar, but also a prolific writer. So we will name him James Charles Dickinson. The fact that I did not know this dude's last name is Dickinson up until this very moment has to be the entire highlight for this fucking video. That is so goddamn funny. And words cannot even express how happy it makes me to know this dude's last name is not only an innuendo for a penis joke, but is also very close to someone who is 1,000 times more famous than James Charles could ever dream to be. Why the fuck is nobody talking about this? This dude's name is James Charles Dickinson. Do you know how many fucking jokes you can make on this guy's name alone. The possibilities are fucking endless. I gotta move on from this. I mean, I'm gonna give myself a headache from just pure joy knowing that this guy's full legal government name is James Charles Dickinson.
For me, having a public platform has become such a huge part of my life that at this point, it does feel normal. But I have to understand that to 99.9% of people, it's not normal and will never be normal. And that's where the power imbalance lies that I wasn't understanding. But I'm so glad that I finally do, because like I said in 2019, taking advantage of that power imbalance is something that I would never ever want to do, but unintentionally was.
James Charles Dickinson, my new best friend. There is nothing normal about you. And the fact that you're referring to yourself in the third person while believing that 99% of people actually give a flying fuck about what you have to say is almost as funny as your full legal name being James Charles Dickinson. I know, I said I would move on from it, but here's a fun fact. Did you know that if you separate James's last name into 3 separate parts, it reads Dickinson? That's pretty funny when you think about it because, you know, he's gay. Imagine his father being like the most supportive parent you could be when having a gay child, but like his father's just like this super macho man, unlike James Charles, so like he doesn't know how to relate or talk to him, and the only thing he could say to him is like, so, get any dick in, son? Alright, I'm done. I got it out of my system, and I promise I won't make any more jokes about his last name being Dickinson.
With this situation blowing up, there are a lot of people speaking about this online, whether it be sharing their opinions, arguing back and forth, or most importantly, holding me accountable for my actions. I understand that posting this video today is not going to stop those conversations, but is going to spark more of them. And that's something that I am completely okay with, because I really feel like these are topics that we need to be speaking about a lot more.
So you're okay with people talking about the situation, and you believe we should talk more about how you message underage boys. Okay, so you'll have no problem with me posting my video. I'm so happy you feel that way, because considering you deleted this video from your YouTube channel, and you like to make false infringement claims anytime somebody criticizes you, I was actually very worried you might try to get my video deleted. Now, I've got nothing to worry about. Thank you, James Charles Dickinson. I really appreciate the reassurance.
I also want to make it clear, too, that through uploading this video today, my hope and my expectations are not to, you know, press post and then forget about it and move on and wash my hands as if nothing happened, because something did happen. And what happened was not okay, and I don't want to just forget about it.
You're right. Something did happen. It's not okay. And you shouldn't forget about it. What you should do is turn yourself in, hire a good lawyer, allow a judge to decide what your punishment should be for sexually messaging minors, and allow the justice system to do their job by holding you accountable. Not make some dumbass 14-minute video where you talk out of your ass the entire time, showing no remorse and claiming to hold yourself accountable.
I'm a firm believer that when scandals or situations like this happen, you can get on camera and upload an apology video where you say sorry a million times all day long, but the only way to actually show and prove that you are sorry is through action and change. And I'm going to change.
You didn't.
This whole situation has been so embarrassing and I'm ashamed, but like I said, I'm now educated and fully understand what went on. And I'm making a promise to all of you right now on camera that I will be way more careful moving forward with every single person that I speak to. My For You page and Explore page are not dating apps, and I will stop treating them as if they are. I also have already started asking for proper identification from every single guy that has either reached out or that I was speaking to, and will continue doing so for the rest of time.
Bro, what the fuck is this shit? How fucking stupid does this guy have to be to believe that people are upset with him because of his dating life? No, you dumb twat. Nobody gives a flying shit that you finally came to the realization that your For You page isn't meant to be a dating website, or that moving forward you'll be asking people for proper notification. The problem that people have with you is the fact that you were sending sexual messages to minors. That's the fucking problem, dumbass. And throughout this entire video, besides maybe the first 5 minutes, you've continued to beat around the bush instead of just flat out saying what you were doing was messaging minors, while also shifting the blame onto other people and making excuses for yourself. You're clearly not educated, you don't understand the situation, and your promises don't mean a goddamn, because even in 2025, 4 years after this specific controversy, you're still getting called out for doing the same shit, you fucking scumbag.
Me and James have never DM'd on TikTok. The only previous messages we had on TikTok was us collab posting from when we would film together when I started my Glow Up series, like I was just talking about. And he like sends me my video. I don't know how you do it. Like he sent me the video, and then under it he said, "Girl, who is this?" And I was like, "Oh, this new guy that I met. I think I'm in love. Ha 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 ha." Then a month and a half later, he slides up on another video of me and Evan together. We have not DM'd on TikTok since this. And it's a video of us dancing together at Yosemite, and James slides up and says, "Girl, he's so hot." And I'm just like, haha, yeah, whatever, cool. So at that point, that's like the only time that we would text was about him saying how hot Evan was, which is like, whatever, I didn't care. I didn't think anything of it, whatever. 2 months after that, I get another DM from James. On December 17th, I had posted a video of us at Hawaii together, and James, once again, our only DMs is him once again being like, "Oh my God, he's so beautiful." So literally the only DMs we have in the past year is him saying how hot my boyfriend is. Cool, whatever. Just like, what the, like looking at this shit now, what the fuck? But we're all sitting on the balcony of our Airbnb talking, and Evan starts saying that James is DMing him on Instagram. And immediately I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you DMing James? Like, so we look over at the phone, and Evan sends James a picture on Instagram. So like, you know how you snap on Snapchat, like doing that on Instagram, like sending pictures back and forth. And Evan is like, "You should go to Hawaii with us." And James sends back this saying like, "Why should I come to Hawaii?" So I text James that we have broken up, and basically the first thing he says in response is, "Can I have him now?" Just responds, "Can I have him now?" And then was like, "Ha ha ha, just kidding. What happened?" I then proceed to tell him, so yeah, "Do you want to be in a painted video with your man?" I explained that we broke up. I was going to do a 30-part series. And mind you, he is the only person that I told, because this is a day after we officially broke up, he is the only person I told about a, quote, 30-part series that I was going to film about what I had went through. He goes, "What?" I go, "Girl, he's fucking crazy." And then there we go. "What happened? Can I have him now?" Once again, didn't really think much of it, but my senses were a little bit heightened now after the whole Hawaii Instagram DMing situation, but whatever. Then tell him, "Imagine the worst things a human can do. It would take hours to text, but you'll see this series soon." Obviously did not go into depth with what I had went through. At this point, like James said in his video, my friends didn't even know, my family didn't even know the full story. Nobody knew the full story. And obviously, I don't expect him to sit there and ask, you know, "Oh, well, what happened?" I don't expect him to do that. I get feeling uncomfortable in that situation, but I made it crystal fucking clear that I was fucked over in a pretty big way.
I now understand the root of the problem. I understand how and why I, and only I, caused myself to get into this situation. I understand that this could have and should have been easily avoided, and I also understand that I need to be aware of my platform at all times. I didn't understand how a situation like this could affect the people involved, but now I do. And for that, to the victims, I am so, so sorry. And I promise that something like this will never, ever happen again. I also feel like I owe an apology to my friends, family, team members, and also fans that had to watch this all go down again. To all of you guys, I once again wish that I had listened earlier on. You guys saw this and I didn't, and I'm really, really sorry for not taking that seriously and not being a better person and a better role model like I promised that I would be.
Did you hear that? Let's go back just a little bit with the volume enhanced.
A better person and a better role model like I promised that I would be.
Sounds like somebody was in the studio while he was filming this video, because that sounded like somebody was either opening a door or stepping on a loose floorboard, which means James Charles Dickinson lied about being alone in the studio while filming this video. Also, you haven't seen it yet, but in this next clip, his hair looks completely different, and that little piece of hair that's sticking out, it gets fixed. So after James Charles is done delivering this amazing apology to his victims, his friends, his family, his team members, and his fans, that he'll never do something like this again, he stopped recording for a second just to fix his hair. You just know how sincere he's being when delivering this apology, because his main priority when staring down at the camera and delivering his God-honest truth was that he wanted to stop what he was doing mid-sentence to make sure he looked good. Yep, there is nothing more sincere. And if you don't believe for a second, boys and gals, that James Charles is treating this video with the utmost respect, then you're not a true James Charles Dickinson fan, and I feel sorry for you.
I'm going to be taking some time away to reflect and further educate myself on these topics. I think at this point it's really important that I do so I'm able to follow through with my word and prove to you guys that I will be a better person. Even though I won't be here posting, I do want people to know that I will still be here, available, listening, and learning. At this point, if you made it all the way through the video, I really appreciate it and just wanted to say thank you for listening, and I hope to never disappoint you again. See you soon.
Damn. Now I'm not only disappointed in this entire video, I'm more disappointed that he didn't end this video saying, "Bye, sister." Listen, I don't feel like repeating myself for the 1 millionth time like a goddamn broken record, but we all know that James Charles didn't actually change or take this situation as a learning and growing opportunity. And everything he said in this video is just complete horseshit, because even years later, after getting called out for being a predator and messaging underage boys, he's still doing the same exact shit and he hasn't changed. I want to make it very clear that I don't actually give a flying fuck about James Charles, his content, or his achievements. I'm a straight dude from New Jersey, so I wouldn't actually give his content the light of fucking day unless I thought that I could actually make fun of it. So I don't want to give this dude any more of my attention than I already have. The problem I have with James Charles is, despite admitting to engaging in sexual conversations with minors, his TikTok on average is still getting millions of views, which means he's making a shit ton of money despite the very obvious evidence of his predatory behavior. And it's just a constant cycle of people calling him out, him making some half-ass apology while claiming to be very, very sorry, and then ending up doing the same exact shit. How does that not piss you off? You fucking parasocial, die-hard James Charles fans are the ones that are giving him money because you believe it's okay since he made this shitty, half-assed apology while claiming to take some accountability, even though the video we just watched clearly shows he's just placing the blame on other people and making excuses. This dude is admitting to engaging in predatory behavior, and you superfans as well as brand deals are pretending like it's okay because he has a large following and he puts on fucking makeup for a living. James Charles is not innocent. He's not a victim. He's fucking disgusting, but more importantly, he's a predator. End of discussion. Well, boys and gals, that's going to be the end of the video. And I apologize it took a bit longer for me to release this episode, but clearly I had a lot to say about this fucking moron. So if you liked the video, give it a like, comment, dislike, subscribe, tell me to go fuck myself. It really doesn't matter, because any engagement you give on this video will still boost in the algorithm. That being said, if you have any recommendations of a content creator you would like to submit for me to review in this series, you can feel free to DM me on any of my social medias. I'll have it listed on the screen as well as in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.